Hi, my name is Becky. I'm going to be showing you how to set up marksheet formulas and marksheet headings for coursework marksheets. First, before we start, let's explain the need for marksheet formulas and marksheet headings. In general, when you enter coursework marks, you enter a certain number of marks, let's say 6. When you present the marksheet, it may have more than 6 columns. You may have conversions. For example, let us say, for argument's sake, you have 6 marks, 3 of which are, let's say, on one topic and other 3 on a different topic. And let us say the first topic, which has 3 marks, it's supposed to contribute, let's say, 20% of the final mark. And the second topic is supposed to contribute, let's say, 30%, which is 50% total for coursework. So what you would need typically on the final mark sheet is you want to see the 3 marks for the first topic, then you want a column with the converted, which those 3 marks are contributing to the final mark. Then you want the second set of 3 marks for the second topic. Then you want their 30% conversion shown again. So you will have actually 8 columns of marks, not 6. You got 3 marks, then the conversion, 3 marks, and the conversion. So since you don't enter the conversion marks on the entry side, you need a buffered mark system where you got 2 tables, one with the marks you enter, one with the calculated marks, and the calculated marks are the ones which produce the final mark sheet. Although you'd also want to be able to print mark sheets for the input side as well, just to see the marks you've entered. So that is the system which we'll use. So here we'll be having 3 stages. The first stage, we'll set up the coursework mark formulas. The second stage, we'll set up the coursework mark headings. And the final stage, we'll set up what's called a coursework mark map, which will map different subjects to pick the particular formula and heading they will use. So we'll start off in this list of coursework mark formulas for stage 1. And like all screens in Wekware, it is what we call a Wekware Live document. Let's make full use of the available screen real estate by zooming this to screen width. Next, to create a formula, we press the new formula button. It opens this window. Let us zoom to screen width to make full use of the screen. Then let's take a look at the overall structure before we start entering the formulas. We got marksheet formulas internal here. And you can see it's got a whole list of entries. There's formula name, then mark 1 at mark 12, average, coursework, and coursework override. Next, we have the comment. Then we got coursework mark sheet formulas moderator, and you got mod mark 1 up to mod mark 12, mod average, mod coursework, and so on. So what we have here essentially is this side is the marks entered by the lecturer or examiner, and this side it's marks where the moderator decides to assess, like particularly during external assessment, and they can change the marks or simply enter the same marks again, and the moderator mark will be the final mark in the case where the particular candidate is selected for moderation. So on the entry side, there's actually 2 sets of marks. There's marks for the internal examiner and marks for the moderator. So the formulas are going to map both. So you're going to need to convert, if you're doing conversions, both for the examiner and for the moderator. All right. So the first thing is the formula name. The formula name can be anything you want. Let's say, for argument's sake, we're going to create the mark sheet we've been talking about, where we have a subject. Let's say this subject has 2 components, and the components are, let's say, we pick subject maths, and we say the components will be calculus and algebra. Okay. So we're going to say there'll be 3 marks for calculus and 3 marks for algebra. So the formula will be maths, then we'll say 3 algebra, 3 calculus. Okay, so then in terms of the marks, the mark sheet formulas themselves now, each formula is simply ordinary math formula, but the variables are the columns on the entry tables. The entry tables have 12 columns. There's assignment 1, assignment 2, assignment 3, and assignment 4. Then there's practical 1, practical 2, practical 3, practical 4, and test 1, test 2, test 3, test 4. The names of these columns don't indicate what they contain. They are simply convenient names which were picked as typical examples, but they don't reflect anything intrinsically about the marks you put in those columns. So let's say for our 3 algebra marks, we used assignment 1, assignment 2, and practical 1. So what I'll say is mark 1, we'll say assignment 1, no spaces, all uppercase. Mark 2, assignment 2, and mark 3, practical 1. Again, all uppercase and no spaces. Then on the fourth column, we said we want the conversion. And let us say these first algebra marks contribute 20%. So what we're going to do is we're going to say 0.2 times, and we want to get the average of those 3 marks. So we're going to say assignment 1 plus assignment 2 plus plus practical 1. Practical 1, close bracket, divided by 3.0. So this add total divided by 3 gives the average, multiplied by 0.2 gives us our conversion. Then the next column, we now want to do the calculus marks. Let's say we use practical 2, test 1, and test 2. So come here and say practical 2, test 1, test 2. Okay, then the conversion, we say these are 30%, so we'll say 0.3 times open bracket, practical 2 plus test 1 plus test 2. Then divided by 3.0. Okay, the core marks are done, the mark formulas, but we must put an average and a overall coursework, as well as the coursework override formulas. These 3 must always be put. Okay, the average is simply the coursework, overall coursework mark out of 100%. Now, right now, these 2 coursework marks are out of 50%. If you add 0.2 times this and 0.3 times that, it's 50% of the marks. So to get the average out of 100%, we divide this by whatever percentage they are. Like these are currently 50%, that's 0.5. So we divide them by 0.5, each of these, and add them up. So I'll take this one here, I just copy it, and I'll come here to average, and I paste it. Then instead of 0.2, I put 0.4. This makes it doubling it, so it's out of 100%. Then I'll add this one here, plus, and again, instead of 0.3, I'll put 0.6. So this is the same weights, relatively speaking, but it's now out of 100%. So the average marks out of 100%. The coursework marks, this is the total coursework mark, which is the sum of these conversions. So it's simply this one plus this one. I'm just copying and pasting. Oops. Okay, then the coursework override, it should be int 40 override. Okay, what is this? When you're entering coursework marks, there is a column where you can override the overall coursework mark, this one here. So if someone enters there, it will display what they enter instead of what this formula calculates. So this is int 40 override. Then comment should simply be test 1 comment. Test 1 comment. Okay. We won't set up the moderator side for now. It's similar to this one, except that the column names start with mod underscore, mod underscore, followed by the same names as these ones which we had here. But the video will get too long if we go through all of that. So once we've done all that, we can say add and close. And you can see there's our math formula there. We can view it if you want to double check that you entered it correctly. And you can print this if you want to. We didn't enter the side, so it's only got this side on top. The second stage is set up the marksheet headings. These should correspond to the marksheet formula. So we start off on this screen, which is a list of marksheet headings. Again, it's a Wekware Live document. Let's zoom to screen width to make full use of our screen. Then let's press the new heading button to create a new one. Zoom to screen width again. So this is similar to the marksheet. It's got the heading type, which is like the heading name. Then there's the various headings. This is just plain text, really. And keep in mind that the marks, both the internal mark and the moderator mark, they're in the same column. So we only got one set of headings, which will cover both the internal and external. So let's start off with the heading type. This should be the same name as what we called our formula essentially. So we can say maths 3 algebra 3 calculus. Then we now give the heading for each column. So for mark 1, this is algebra. So we can type an abbreviation. Typically, you should your heading name, heading label shouldn't be more than about 6 characters to fit comfortably in all the mark sheets. So say ALG1 for algebra 1, ALG2, ALG3. That's 3 algebra. Oh, that's a C, not a G. Let's change to a G. Right. So those are the 3 algebra marks. Then for the conversion out of 20%, we'll put it divided by, then we'll put 20%. This means out of 20% for those 3 averages, those 3 marks averaged. Then we come to calculus. We can say calc 1, calc 2, calc 3. Try to keep the marks, then the length of your label below 6 characters. Then out of 30%. Then we have the overall coursework mark. We can say here, did we put it here? We put it on int here actually. Okay, so here you can say CWK. This is what we want. Okay, let us say add and close. We can view the mark headings. Okay, and we can say it's what we wanted, and close, and we're done. The third and final stage of this process is setting up the mark map. This maps our headings and coursework mark formulas to each subject and course. Okay, let's go through it. The first value here is up order. This is the order in which these formulas are applied. What you should do is they're applied alphabetically, A up to Z. So you put the most general formulas to apply to everybody early, then you put specific formulas to apply to specific courses later. So since it's alphabetical, we'll come for our formula, it's for a specific subject. So we're going to put it maybe at, let's say, F01. This gives us room to put other things which are alphabetically below and above. So pick the formula, the formula would have put, which is maths 3 algebra 3 calculus. Okay, then the header, we have again maths 3 algebra 3 calculus. Then now we come to the mark sheet. This one is new. Wekware has a lot of built-in mark sheets, and you got to pick the one which is appropriate for what you want to do. Now here, if we look at how many columns we really want, we want 3 columns for the algebra marks, 1 column for the conversion, 3 columns for the calculus mark, 1 column for the conversion for the calculus mark. So we could say that's 8 columns. So we can come here and we're going to pick 8 columns. Now on 8 columns there's 2. There's sort alphabetical and sort numerical. Sort numerical sorts by the coursework average mark. That's why it was important to make sure that we had a formula for the coursework average mark, because that determines the numerical sort. Sort alphabetical just sorts by the students' surnames, their names. So we're going to pick 8 columns sort alphabetical. Next, we got these gray fields. These are optional, and you can use them to make the formula specific to a particular course and subject. In this case, we will. We're going to say this one is specific to mechanical engineering, and the subject is engineering maths. So this formula is specifically for this subject in this course only. If we left this blank and this blank to apply to everyone, if we left only this blank and put only the course to apply to the course, all subjects in this course. So by leaving things blank, you're making it apply to all. That's what it means. In this case, we want some very specific. Then we say add. And we now have this setting here.